Hello, hello, good people. Hello, hello. How are you all? How are you all? Always got to do a volume check. Always have to do a volume check. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, everyone. How are you all doing? Got my other machine over here going. Let's get it, folks. Let's get it. Welcome in, folks. Welcome in. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Part two. The machine gave out. The machine gave out. Uh, as always. Not as always. Not as always. Thank you all for being here. Trying to get to his link. This live is sponsored by Alonzo Hall, the All Star Advisor. Alonzo Hall, the All Star Advisor. Get in here and drop his link, folks. Let me get in here to drop his link. This thing is moving slow. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. I am still here. I am still here. Should pop up and should be in my history. It is. All right. Hopefully your day is going well, folks. Hopefully your day is going well. Back over here, back over here. Ta-da! Yes, Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, is the sponsor of this live, folks. Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, is the sponsor of this live. His link is in the chat. His link is in the chat. Go over there and check out his channel, folks. Go over there and check out his channel. Hopefully your Tuesday, I do believe it is. The days meld together for me sometimes. Hopefully it is going well. Hopefully it is going well. No problems or issues at the job site. No problems or issues at the job site. I don't want to be looking at myself over here, so let's put that over there. All righty. Let me go out of here, folks. Let me go out of here. So when I was on the silent live and chatting with regards to this topic, public, private, or homeschool, the AI Regina show was over there chatting it out with me, and we here stopped by to give his input, and we all agreed that private school, we would choose private school, of course, and I think that a lot of folks, I would like to think that a lot of folks would. Of course, that could be different. Maybe someone has a different opinion, but for the most part, I think when people think of private school, they think that it is better, and this is just a term that I am using. You fill in whatever adjective that you want to, is better than the public school for a whole host of reasons that are personal to them, to each and every family, etc. All of that good stuff. And as with anything, and like I mentioned, most of the time, having a pros and cons list for the big ticket things in your life that you want to happen or that need to happen is a good thing, And I get it. Time is of the essence all the time when we are talking about these particular things, these subjects, all of that good stuff. Time is of the essence, and we may not have time to research out something, all of that good stuff. I know that sometimes when I was in the market too, at some point we thought about, buying a new home, another home, etc. And of course, on the websites, when you go to these different places, it would tell you about the school systems that are in the area or at the particular location that you are trying to or wanting to purchase. And it gives a school rating for the schools that are near there. Now, of course, that's probably not all inclusive, and who knows what all went into the data that they compiled to come to this particular rating, etc. And you just never know who's doing it, what information they got, where they got the information from, etc. So that may or may not be a good gauge on information as to how the school actually is. Of course, maybe finding folks in that community, if that is really, really, really the place you want to move to live with your children that will be attending, that particular public school in this case, then you may want to ask folks that live around there, or maybe just go to that neighborhood and maybe look around the school or something or another like that. Nothing crazy. Ask, go to the school, and then on the time that they let out, and ask parents, how is the school, and a whole host of questions that you may have with regard to that school, because you are sending your precious asset, your child, there to the school, and you definitely want the best. And there's other factors to consider also into. Of course, when you're looking online at a particular property or something or another, you definitely want to make sure that you go to that particular neighborhood, you know, in the morning, like when they have a rush hour, during the afternoon hours, and at night, different times at night, maybe different times during the day, to just see how the neighborhood is, like the traffic flow and what all is happening at that particular moment in time. There may be construction going on, etc. And if you're able to find someone that will talk to you about the community and give you their honest opinion about it, then that is a great thing also into. But yeah, just do your due diligence. And if the school system is going to be number one in your book with regard, if that's going to be the number one thing, like, okay, I'm going to move to this neighborhood if it has a good public school. And of course, you're going to be the one to judge that or not. Of course, not having sent your kid to the school or anything like that, because you are planning to, purchase there, then yeah, you have to yeah, you got to do your due diligence. You have to do your due diligence, and you're stepping out on faith that it is a good school, etc. And I know a lot of it will. Well, I think the thing that will come into play for most people is, I really, really, really want to be in this neighborhood, etc., because they love the house. The house is everything that they want. But then they may be going down in the value of the education that their child may be getting. Of course, that is unknown information at that particular point in time when you are, deciding whether you want to buy the home or not, unless you do all of that footwork, all of that research in advance. So yeah, there is work to be done. There is work to be done. Now, with regards to a private school, it pretty much doesn't matter what your zip code is. If you're able to take your kid to a private school that is in your area or outside of your area, in my brain, that is really not a big thing, what have you, because it doesn't matter where you live. People will people will accept your money in this case with regards to the um, private school, and it's more than just the money, but and your zip code, doesn't matter with regards to the private school. As far as I know, now something could have changed to where it does matter, but I don't think that is an issue like it is with the public school. I don't think that it is an issue with the private school as it is with the public school, your zip code, etc. So, and I think there may be a lot of different reasons or factors why people think that the private school is better. Uh, and like the A.I. Spilly Girl TV was speaking with regards to her children went there up until the ninth grade. And one of the things that she liked was the uniform aspect of it. They're having to wear uniforms. And I mentioned in the silent live that, yes, and the public schools eventually adopted that thing also into, and it's possibly because there were so many incidents of um, people taking other children's clothing, people maybe bullying folks for not having the latest clothing or brand name stuff, etc., and a whole host of things when their children were going to school, etc., or rather that was happening within the public school system. A lot of that was happening, and it became problematic. And eventually, I do believe that some of the public school systems gave in. I'm saying some because I don't know whether all have a uniform policy, but I do believe that most do, at least here, have a uniform policy to, like, okay, we're going to stop that, and everyone's just going to wear the same thing or a combination of different things, etc., depending on the weather, all this stuff. But it has to be this particular uniform because I'm sure that they probably got a little bit scary over there for a lot of folks. Every day or every other day there's some type of incident someone is having because of the clothing that they had on, or it wasn't brand name, or things being taken because I didn't have, the Jordan shoes or something other like that. So yeah. But as with anything, do your own research, do your own research. And of course, and another thing that the AI Spilling girl mentioned in there was that no tolerance, zero tolerance for the foolishness, the crazy, etc. And in my brain that went to, we will boot you out of here and we will get someone else in here because they probably got a waiting list, one to begin with, depending on the school. And if not, then they will find a way to get someone in there if they have to, give them some type of grant or scholarship. They're just not going to put up with the crazy stuff from the student or from the parents. They're not going to put up with that. They're going to let you know from jump. We're not putting up with the crazy that we have heard that happens with regards to the parents and the teachers that happen in the public school. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And why should they in the public school also in two? Everyone just have to do better. And of course, another thing when you are deciding whether you want to send your child to a private school or something another, your child. Of course, and for me, I'm in this particular case, I'm talking about from 0 to 5 or 6 when they're able to start school. Your child. You should know what level they are at, for lack of a better word, with regards to a lot of things. Not to say that you can't get them to where they need to be, etc. I am thinking that the private school is going to have some expectations. I am thinking that I don't know. Now I get it that the money is green, and and here we are, and the private schools are no exception to wanting to take your money. But the child, you would want your child to be where it is that they need to be, of course, before starting. And if they're not, then once they get in there, after a certain period of time, I'm not talking years, I'm talking months, that they are where they need to be. And of course, I'm thinking, of course, with the private school that you can, of course, those parent teachers meetings that you have in the public school, you can have them maybe a little bit more readily, or the teachers may have them a little bit more frequently with you with regards to your child. If you and the teacher already, gathered that, okay, we need to do a little boost up to get your kid to where they need to be with the rest of the class. And it's my hope that, they're not doing social promotion over there, that they're making sure that, everyone is learning. And I know everyone learns differently at a different pace, but in some places you have to you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to put up or shut up, as they say. You got to get on board, because I don't think that they're going to stop teaching, stop moving along with the curriculum or the process just because your kid, is behind. Getting behind once, okay, we're going to get you caught up. We're going to get you caught up quickly so you can, stay with the rest of the students. That may or may not be the case in public school. If you don't catch it, they're just going to go on with the thing. Like I said, may or may not be the case. If you know or if you know something differently, then you can advise here in the chat. But yeah, and like in the silent live, I mentioned that my grandchildren, my two oldest grandchildren, they went to private school. Um, the oldest went from pre-K until I think third or fourth grade, and then during the fourth grade, my daughter moved here to Maryland, and then I think Jalen went pre-K to maybe first or second grade, and then after they moved here, then she just put them in public school, etc. But yeah, there are rules when they were going. Um, the parents are required to participate in, the different outings and things that they have at the school so that the school can, I guess, keep their fees down and a whole host of things. And if you don't do that, then you just pay a lump sum, up front with regards to that. And my daughter, she elected to do that because, she had a job and all this other stuff. So it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. But yeah, yeah, they're keeping track. And of course, your child's education is key and paramount. So attending the PTAs on the public side, and if they have PTAs or whatever they call them on the private side, is going to be helpful, key, and critical. And of course, in my brain, of course, with the public schools, yes, you are paying for the public schools, even though you can send your kid there for free, as they say. You are paying for your child to go to school via your taxes to the local and state and federal, because some of that federal money comes back to the states, etc. But you are paying for your child to go to public school. However, you don't have to give anyone at the school any money, for your child to attend. Hello, Joshua. How are you? How are you? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yes, I'm over here. This is part two to finish up the silent live, to finish up the silent live. Glad that you're doing good, Joshua. Glad that you are doing good. Yes, you are the first. You are the first. Thank you. Thank you. I think we're not going off into that. But yes, you are paying for the private school. You are paying for the private school. And I think most of us, we've been around the block a time or two. We know what it is that we are getting most of the time when we, send our kids to private school. However, that doesn't have to be the case. You know your student. If you know your student is performing and doing well before you send them to the particular public school, etc., go and you have zero other options, etc., at a particular moment in time. And most of the stuff is a moment in time, but on that, some info on that later. You know where your kid is. Ask if they have, different programs, or if the teacher can give your child some advanced work because they know the material already that they are giving them. Ask if they can give them some advanced work, or if you can provide your child with some advanced work so that they can do while they are in the class, so that they don't get bored and maybe start to act out, etc., because they already know this information and they want to move on to the next thing, because you know your child and you know that that is how your child is. You can always ask the question. You can always ask the question. Also, and two, while you're at home, you can continue with the learning that you are doing. And age appropriate here, age appropriate here. You can also discuss with tell your child, hey, I know that you're going to this school, and you know the information that the teacher is going over already. Some of the other students in the class may not know it already. So while we're at home, we're going to do some more advanced training. You don't have to say that word if you don't want to. Some more advanced training to keep you going on the path that you are going on, etc. And that if you talk to the teacher and the teacher said yes, you can send, or they will give more advanced items for the student, for your child to do, then great. Let them know that. Let them know that also, and too. So yeah, but you have to be there and you have to be present, and you will probably have to push that issue and other issues 2, 3, and 20 times to get folks on board. But that doesn't preclude you from doing what it is that you can and probably should do at home, if you have a good student that is, advanced. That's the word that I am using, folks. That is the word that I am using. If you have a student that is advanced and you don't want them to fall behind because maybe the student has plans for themselves, age appropriate, and you have plans for them also, and too. And of course, just in general, you want the best for your child also, and too. And we know that education is key. We know that education is key out here, folks. We know that the machines are taking over. And if you have a student that is 5, 6, 7, 8 or along there, oh my goodness, the technology is changing and advancing every day. And it's just hard for some folks to keep up, some of the old heads to keep up. Not me. Cheesesteak, just a little joke there, but just a little joke. So yeah, it's going to be really something. It's going to be really something, once as they get older. I'm not going to say when they get to 18, but just as they get older, next month, next year, etc. But yeah. Yeah, when your kid is going to public school, whether they're advanced or not. You need to be involved. You have to be involved. And in the private school, you have to be involved, or else you put up the money. But of course, you have to be involved, of course, with your child, just daily, whether they're in public school or private school. You have to be involved and see what all it is that's going on at the school. That's why when I was doing my walking and talkings way back during the summer months, I talked about this a little bit, about talking to your kid daily once they jump in your car, if you're able to pick them up, or when you see them, when you get home from your job or jobs. Ask those questions. What did you learn today? What happened at school today? What did the teacher say? Don't say, what did you say about math or science? What did the teacher say? Because sometimes asking the question in a different way will elicit a different response. We get a different response because you don't know what's happening, and they have your child for 6 to 8 hours, and you don't know what is happening. You know what's happening when they call you and tell you that your kid is sick and you're at work and you can't get off. Yeah, they will let you know what's going on then. Yeah. And they will let you know that they've called all the people you put on the emergency or the to contact list in case, they can't contact you first, or if you contact, they will call you for that. You have to be involved, just in general, whether public, private, whatever it is. You have to be involved in your child's education. Education is key. The foundation, the building blocks to all of the stuff that they will learn there, that you are pouring into them, all of those life skills, critical thinking skills, how they're out here interacting with their friends at school, outside of school, their relatives, cousins, etc., uncles, aunts. All of that stuff will be poured into your child, the good, the bad, and the indifferent of it. And of course, we can't explain every situation to our kid, age dependent, of course. We can't explain every situation to our kid, like, why is Uncle Bob acting that way, etc., when Uncle Bob may have a history of, certain things, etc., and your child may be too young to understand it. And maybe when they get older, they may hear, tidbits from other folks, and then they're like, oh, maybe that's why, etc. But you have to be involved with your child. You have to be involved with your child from the very beginning, from the very beginning. Hello, AS Billy Girl TV. How are you? How are you? Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. The moderator. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, you have to be involved. Same for the private school. Same for the private school. Ask when they jump in your car. You have to do the same thing. Being involved doesn't matter whether they're in public or private, etc. You want to know what your child, of course, is learning, and you want to know what the teacher is saying that may be outside of what they should be learning. Because if you go on this YouTube, you will see some shorts and probably some videos of some things that may be inappropriate for you, may not align with your values, your principles, your morals, etc. And, and that may cause you to think to do something differently if this is happening in the public or the private school. So yeah, and you have to be ready. You have to be ready for that. If that is the case, you have to be ready for that. If you're going to take them out of the public school, because a lot of things are happening or have been happening over a period of time, and you don't like it, it don't align, like I mentioned before, with your values, morals, principles, etc., or your belief, whether religious or otherwise, then you have to be ready for part two, or act two, with regard to your kid. And if that means having the money ready to put them in a private school, or to do homeschooling, or age dependent, because it's possible that if they're old enough, like 15 or 16, then they may be able to do online school, etc. Of course, one has to do their own research and figure that out, etc. They're old enough to stay at home, and they're old enough to do the online classes, etc. And you trust that they will do that without your having to get a third job, which is to monitor them, to make sure they're doing it, and all this other stuff. Then that would be an option. Of course, like I said, you would have to have that plan in place in case the other two things do not work for you. You have to have a plan in place, a plan in place. So a lot of factors with regards to private school, public school, and homeschooling. Now, 3+ years ago, it seems like it's been longer than that, but nonetheless, when we had the situation that happened where most folks were at home and the schooling went online for a lot of folks, especially in the public school realm and maybe some private, but the little rumblings I heard for around here was that that didn't happen so much. They got them back in there, et cetera, into the private school, but that's neither here nor there. But when that situation was going on and the learning went online, a lot of the students lost a lot. They lost a lot, and it may be many, many, many years before the whole thing can really be fleshed out. Of course, big picture, uh, all of the students that were in school, that type of thing. But you, as a parent, you know how your child was affected by what effect that had on your kid when they were actually doing the online classes. You know what it was. You saw it. Your kid told you age appropriate, or they told you straight up if they were old enough to tell you, hey mom, this isn't working out, I hate it, I am not learning anything, whatever, whatever, I'm not socializing or interacting with anyone, of course not at school and not anywhere, I'm not going anyplace. And then now you want me to sit here for 6 or 8 hours or 5 to 7 hours, whatever it was, and try to do this stuff when a whole lot of things are happening in the background with other students on Zoom. They're doing things and people are in and out of the frames, and some of your classmates. It was a mess. It was a mess. And the AI Spiller Girl TV is saying, yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. So many children failed. Yes, yes. And the system, the system failed our children with regards to that, But yeah, a lot of the children failed. They fell behind, all of that good stuff. They probably just promoted them because, like, what else could they do? I'm not. I don't know. I don't have a kid that's a child that's in school, but yeah, the system failed the children. Of course, everything is political. Not going into that here. But yeah, it was a complete mess. It was a complete mess, in my opinion. In my opinion, it was a complete mess. Yeah, and some of the homes did not have internet. And I was talking to my niece, and she's way older. She was telling me that in Virginia, where she's at, and it's possible that the same thing happened in Maryland for the students that did not have, internet, all of the stuff that they allowed them to, get internet for free or for a reduced price or something or another like that, just so that they could do their schoolwork they needed to show up for school. So of course I'm sure they were provided with the laptops just like they did here in Maryland and all this other stuff. And yeah, they did not have internet at home to begin with, so there was no way they could connect. And now that was another thing that the federal government, state government, and of course, federal government probably paid for it or is paying for it now, had to make sure happen for them that they could have internet access in their home so that they could go to school on Zoom, etc. Yeah, yeah. Even the teachers could not teach properly because it was new to them too. Yes, yes, very new, and people were learning just how to utilize Zoom, how to have the students raise their hand, etc., mute, unmute. It was just a total mess, a total mess. Yeah, some homes were not set up properly. Yeah, with regards to the internet and the learning environment, like some folks didn't have a desk. Some were doing it in their beds, on top of their beds, etc. So yeah, just like we mentioned early in the silent in the earlier in the silent live, like the environment has to be quiet and an educative one, where in my brain I'm thinking your child should have a desk in their bedroom or in a common area If the family decides, hey, we're going to have a common area where you do your homework so that the parent can't swing by every second to make sure that they are actually doing their work. And the parent, should be in the know that they can have a lot of windows going on. But yeah, back then, yeah, a lot of the kids were just wherever they were at the kitchen table or on their beds, doing the work that way. And the environment needs to be, conducive to learning, etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah. Some families could not afford computers. Yeah. And I think, I know here in Maryland, my grandchildren, they got the computers from the school, etc. But I am sure that some, could not afford or did not have enough for everyone because for a period of time, my granddaughter had to use the other one because they gave you specific times where you could pick up one when all the stuff was going on. No one wanted to be out there, interacting with other folks. So I guess if you missed the time to pick up, then you were, out of luck, and she had to use her, you know, the personal one for a little bit, etc. And that got to be a little wonky, but yeah. Some families had to quit their jobs. Yes, because age dependent of their children, depending on the age of their children, they couldn't leave their kid alone, and they were it. They did not have childcare or backup childcare. The school itself, the building was the childcare center. There was a place that they had their children housed, for the 8 hours that they are working also into. And yeah, a lot of folks lost their jobs, because your job is only gonna if you had a job that actually kept going on, during that particular time, you were fortunate. But if you weren't able to, of course, you couldn't leave your kid at home by themselves. You lost your job, and that brings on a whole nother pot of issues. A whole nother pot of issues. Yes, very stressful. And some of the folks are feeling and having some of that stress now because their kid is just like so far behind, so far behind in a whole host of areas that they're probably never going to catch up. They're never going to catch up. And if they do catch up, then the parents is going to be putting out some money to make that happen, And then the kid needs to be on board for that to happen also, and too. And that's a whole nother thing. Some families did not have high school diplomas. Yes, yes. Yeah, and that makes it hard, in this technological environment for some folks, and even I have problems and issues also too with some of the technology. But if you're not used to utilizing the technology like full on the way that they wanted you to with Zoom, just if I was using your telephone most of the time when you're texting and maybe responding to an email, they wanted, oh my God, what was that thing called? I should know what it. They had so many little programs that you had to go to that they, I guess, gathered up in a hurry, etc., to utilize. Man, I wish I could remember it, but it was quite a few. And if you did not know how to navigate within each of those programs, it was a mess. And then putting the files to send to the teacher like the homework. Oh man, oh man, it very stressful, very stressful, very stressful, very stressful. Some homes was too small, yes, and if they had two or three kids and they didn't have desks, etc., then they're all around the kitchen table, trying to learn at the same time, maybe answering questions that the teacher asked of them at the same time. If they had to verbally, give the answer, if they're typing skill, well, they probably got good typing skills. I'm just going to say because they're on their machines all the time. So the children wanted to play with their toys because they see them. Yes, exactly. When they're in the home and that is what they're used to, and they normally do that, they the younger ones, they want to, and even the older ones, they want to play with it. They want to get on and do the gaming, et cetera, et cetera. And for the older ones with the gaming, they'll just go and have another window open and go over there, et cetera, and be playing the game, et cetera, and pretending to be listening to that. But yeah, for some of the smaller kids, they got their little plushy toys, et cetera, or their little cars or dolls. They're right there. They're at home. They see them like, oh, I'm at home, so And you're probably constant, parent probably constant, no, 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 we got to do, it's school time now, it's school time now. We got to look at this computer and listen to what the teacher is saying for 6 hours. How about that? That works well with a 5, 6 year old. Not, yeah, just crazy, just crazy. Yeah, a lot of the parents were behind technologically, and they didn't help with all the additional programs that they had, to and I'm age dependent for, some of the ones that are 12, 13, or 14, maybe after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they got it, how to do it, etc. And the parent didn't have to be there and all this other stuff. But for the younger ones, like 4, 5, 6, that totally, clueless with regards to that. If the parent did not know or have someone there that was in the know, that was a big problem. That was a big problem. And I'm sure that the teachers, like you mentioned before, AR Junior Show, while they were trying to figure it out themselves, they did not have the time to really dedicate to teaching the parent how to do that. And of course, if the parent is not there full on with the kid because the parent has to work, and if they were fortunate enough to have a job to where they could work at home and be there some of the time, but they can't be there all of the time because they need the money, folks. They need the money. They have to work the job. They have to work the job. If they were there some of the time, then if they explained it to the teacher, like, hey, I don't know about this stuff. When I am here, please try to give me some training on how to do it while I am sitting with my kid. I won't be here sitting with my kid the whole 6 to 8 hours that the state government is requiring me to sit here with my kid to do this online training. So while I am here, teach me how to, send you the homework, this, and this for this particular program. And then the next time I am here for the next particular program, because I am sure that there were many that were out there. So yeah, the parents also had some learning to do, some technology hurdles to overcome. Yeah, just a lot. Yeah, the demand was so high that it was hard to find a PC. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. And there was a shortage of teachers due to the virus. Yes, and I'm sure that after that, a lot of them said, "I am out of here. I am out of here. I am taking a break from this this craziness." That did me in. That did me in. The online learning and all that went on before, during, and after probably did them in. But yeah, there was a shortage, and I don't know whether it was down there in Texas where you are. Yeah, Spilligo CV, whether they were hiring, former military people to do that, or some another like that. Not quite sure. It might have been a few places that probably did not make the news that was happening also in too. But yeah, I'm sure that finding a PC was very, very hard, very, very hard. Yeah, at the end of the day, the students could not pass the test to go to the next level. I believe it. I believe it. But I don't know. I am not sure. Yeah, they probably were just, socially promoted. And they were probably saying, like, what can we do? What can we do? But I take your point that if a test was presented to them, to where if they're in the third grade to go to fourth grade, they could probably not have passed it during this particular time. Hello, Rooted in Essential Oils. How are you? How are you? Yes, please be safe driving. Please be safe driving. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, that was a really interesting period, a really interesting period. And I am sure that it left a bad taste in parents' mouth, teachers' mouths, administrators, all of that good stuff. And I'm sure that taste won't go away for, for a long while, for a long while. And here we are, and here we are today. I guess some school systems are, for like a better phrase, trying to get back to normalcy, if there's such a thing. And now they're having to deal with, when all of that was happening, trying to get the kids back to the level that they need to be. And in my brain, there's just no way that that is going to happen in the 180 days or so that the child is with them, with the teachers having to stay on course, stay on curriculum, we're teaching this day, this week, etc. Next week we're doing this, next week we're doing this, and then the student, they're just falling further and further behind, further and further behind. The state's lost so much money. Yes, yes, and they're probably trying to make up for it. They're probably trying to make up for it now. But yeah, it wasn't the parents or the students, that decided, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I get it, all the other stuff that happened. And I don't want to go into that because I don't want it to be about that. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened. Yes, and all the folks that are within the school system, that is a major component, a big part of making the school work itself. Like you mentioned here, the bus drivers, cooks, janitors, all of those folks were out of a job. Man, talking about the value of having a backup plan with regards to funds, maybe another whole different type of skill set. No disrespect, so that you can go and do something else, etc., or find something else to do online, etc., so that you can, replace that income. It's just a lot. I guess a lot of folks were doing, DoorDash, that type of thing, etc., where they really didn't have to interact with folks, etc., and folks trusted, etc. But yeah, having that backup plan is going to be key and critical. And everything is not everything. We know that most of it involves, money. I'll just put it that way because, not everything is about money. And, the folks here, we are grown and sexy, and we know that everything is not about money. But a big component of our lives does revolve around having sufficient funds in order to just be out here living and breathing, etc., to cover the basics: food, clothing, and shelter. Yeah, gotta have a backup plan, folks. Gotta have a backup plan. Hello, Miss April. How are you doing? April Showers Network. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. How's your day going? How's your day going? How is your day going? Last day of the month, folks. Last day of the month. And make sure that, I guess, the I don't know, it might just be here in Maryland, but maybe all over. The rule is if you're not participating in the festivities of Halloween, etc., then don't turn on your porch light so that the kids don't come to your door, etc. Or maybe put a note out. But I think for the most part, it says don't turn on your light. I'm going to have to really, really, really remember that, because most of the time I turn on my light so that my husband, can get in, and I don't want him to be too much in the dark. I don't want him to be in the dark when he gets to the door. So I'm going to have to remember that for tonight in particular. Yeah, because I'm not doing that. No, 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 no. But welcome in, Miss April, April Showers Network. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Oh, yes. And thank you for sharing me out my budgeting, my cash stuffing video. Thank you for. I need to. I'm just doing strength training here. I'm just doing strength training, trying to stay outside of the weather. And yeah, I haven't done any indoor walking in a minute, but I've just been doing strength training inside the house. But yeah, no walking in place or running in place on the inside. I need to get back to it. I need to get back to it. Trust and believe. I need to get back to it, Miss April. But yeah, yeah, just doing strength training here inside. Yes. Yes, exactly. Hey, ask Billy Girl TV. Have another or multiple streams of income, as they say, as they say. Yeah, because it will get tricky. And I think a lot of folks I know, I learned quite a bit with regards to this, and just in general, with regards to what the powers that be, whoever they are in government, etc., can bring down or dictate to, the populace, the people in the country. Hey, you're going to be inside, you're going to stay inside, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and if you don't do this or that, then all of these other things are going to happen to you. Yeah, that was an interesting time, but the children did. They, I think they suffered a whole lot. I think they suffered a whole lot from the online learning. I think and I should remember, I should know her name because I mentioned her in one of my little walkings that I did way back during the summer months. I think she was a doctor and a Washington Post reporter, something or another, and she has small children, you know, I think under five, I do believe, and maybe one older than five and one under five. Thank you so much, Root and Essential Oils. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Famous. Thank you so much. I think she mentioned at first she was on board with all of the stuff that was happening during the 3.5 years back. And then she noticed that her youngest son was having some, I guess, some verbal or some communication issues or what have you from having to wear, the mask, etc. And then it was like her whole tune changed. And yeah, so it's interesting, when you really and it was a lot of information to take in for folks. It was a lot of information to take in for folks. Like, what do I do? If your job is on the line, that brings into a whole host of stuff because you got to survive, you got to live, you got children, etc. So, like, what do I do? What do I do? But yeah, it got to be scary and a little tricky all at the same time, folks, during that period of time. But the children, I think, are still behind. I don't know whether they've caught up or ever will catch up with what are they, with their education, their studies, etc. That they lost during that particular time. Thank you, Rooted, for sharing me out. Thank you, Rooted and Essential Oils, for sharing me out. Famous, that's his name, folks. That's his name. Go over to his channel and check him out. Rooted in Essential Oils. He is growing over there, folks. He is growing over there. I was over there on your live when you were with Yoga with Goga, doing that presentation of the is air diffusers or humidifiers, one or the two or both. Sorry. One or the two or both. And yeah, go check him out, folks. Natural plant-based living. He's talking about those essential oils, folks, and how to utilize them properly, the best way, the safest way, what's going to work for you and your family, and the products. He sells those products. Definitely, please make sure that you are looking at that description box for discount codes, how to connect with him with regards to purchase of the items, thieves, household cleaner product items, essential oils, like I said, diffusers, humidifiers, the whole gamut, folks, the whole gamut. Rooted in Essential Oils. His link is in the chat. Go and check him out, folks. Go and check him out. Go and check him out. Thank you so much, Rooted. Thank you so much. Yes, and please make sure that if you share me out during a live, of course, I will be here to see it, and your link will get dropped. But during my silent lives, great. If you share me out at some other time on a regular video, or just you think about me and you're like, oh, I want to share out one of her videos from times gone by, etc. Please let me know. Please let me know. The notifications aren't going out. The notifications aren't going out that you shared me, etc. And I'm not going to, know to go to someone's site to see if they shared me out or something like that. So please let me know. Please let me know when you come to a silent live or a live so that I can shout you out, drop your link, etc. Give you the proper treatment over here, all of that good stuff. I don't want to miss anyone. I don't want to miss anyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not depending on YouTube to send notifications. And we know that during the weekends that they dry up. I'll just put it that way, that they dry up. And even probably during the week, some folks are, mentioning here and there that they're not getting their notifications, etc. That's why I do the all. So hopefully something gets to me. But yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, this show is sponsored by Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. I think I did it. Yeah, because I got him. I think, yeah. Yeah, this show is sponsored. This live is sponsored by Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. I shared him out at the top when I first came in, and I mentioned at the top also too. But yeah, just as a reminder, this show is sponsored by Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. His link is in the chat. Go and check him out, folks. Go and check him out. Of course, he was the winner of contest number 4, and the prize for contest number 4, as it will be for contest number 5, is free sponsorship here on Wanda Budgets and Beyond. Wanda Budgets and Beyond free sponsorship for 7 days, beginning Sunday when I spin the wheel. And if your name is done, then you will be the sponsor of Sundays Live all the way until the next Sunday when we do the next drawing. We're on contest number 5. We are on contest number 5. But yes, go over there and check out Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, your fiduciary fellow, your insurance junkie. I love it when he says that. That's like the lead into his shorts and his videos, etc. Just great, great, great. He's talking about a whole host of things over there, but his main thing, of course, he is a certified financial advisor. Go check him out. He sells insurance products. Read the description, folks. Read the description. Do your own research. Do your own research, folks, with regards to making purchases of any kind here. Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. His link is in the chat. His link is in the chat. And he tells you how you can utilize life insurance to pay for other things like your retirement, your kids' college education. It's all there in his about, etc. And definitely check out the description. Check out the description. You can set up an appointment to chat with him, all of that good stuff. Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. Link is in the chat. Go and check him out, folks. Go and check him out. Yes. The fiduciary fellow. Yeah, but he talks about a whole host of different things over there. And just like with, I think, a lot of channels, eventually, you may branch out from, one or two of the things that you initially started to do. So then you can liven it up or keep the content different. And you can have like different things to talk about each and every time. But that's not what I'm talking about here. But yeah, so if something, like I said, I learned a lot from that, and even from the little school stuff, because my daughter would talk and chat about things, etc. And a few times I would go over there, and a lot of the time I would go over there and help my 2 younger grandchildren with their stuff, etc. And it was interesting. It was interesting, and some of the things that you mentioned, like the technology, like they had so many, like I was mentioning, so many different programs that they had to go to for particular things. Like, wow, just to send the homework, I don't know, it was a mess. But I caught on, and because I was going to be there and I was going to ask questions and get in there with them. Like, no, that's not happening. If I can't send it to you that way, I'm going to send it to you to your email on the PGC, Prince George's County Public School System website. I'm sending you, but I need to stop. I need to stop. But you're not going, and a lot of folks, I'm wrong for that. A lot of folks' lives were just complicated. And I know the parents, I'm using complicated loosely here in my case because, at the end of the day, it's on my daughter because those are her children. They're my grandchildren, but they're her children. I know I can separate things out, folks. I can separate things out. Of course, I want the best for my grandchildren, but they are her responsibility first and foremost. Because sometimes, we as grandparents might want to try to just take over and all this other stuff, and then the kid is like, okay. But nonetheless, yeah. Just in general, you have to be involved. You have to be involved. You have to be involved, folks. You have to be involved. Oh, thank you so much, Miss April. Once again, thank you for sharing me out. I do appreciate it. April Showers Network, folks. April Showers Network. Go and check her out. And she's doing this thing over there called the Elevation Squad, where she is working and hoping and trying to motivate content creators that have made it, like I mentioned before, whatever that is, that have made it, they've gone on, they've seen success, may have gotten monetized, on the way to getting monetized, etc., to come back and pull up, help the content creators that are just starting, that are on their way, getting on their way, etc., by doing a whole host of things, the things that we are doing normally when we are out here creating content and watching other folks' content. Go and watch the video, liking the video, becoming a family member, the S word, becoming a family member, sharing out the content, etc., watching and catching their lives, and of course being in the lives and participating, etc., all of that good stuff. She's over there, putting that word out daily. I think it's the Elevation Squad up, as she said, the Elevation Squad over there, so that It's just everyone just help each other along where they can and when they can. And just like this is April Showers Network. The link is in the chat. Go over there and check out her content. Folks, go over there and check out her content. In addition to that, she is talking about real things that are happening out here, news events, and any and everything else that she wants to talk about. And she also speaks with regards to her personal journey with cancer, breast cancer in particular. So, yeah, go check that out. Go check that out. She'll tell you her journey, where she's been, how things are now, where she's going, etc. And hopefully that information can be of help to the women out here and even the men, because the men, we have wives, sisters, aunts, and cousins that we are close to. And even if we're not close to, we want them to fare well in their health, etc. So everyone can learn something. But definitely, as always, yearly or however often one needs to, those mammograms are going to be very important. Those mammograms are going to be very important. Make sure that those happen yearly, ladies. Make sure that those happen yearly or however often that needs to happen. Yeah, very key and critical. And as with that and a whole host of things, a whole lot of things come. And I'm off that April Showers Network. April Showers Network. Go and check her out. Her link is in the chat, folks. Her link is in the chat. Shout out to the replay crew. Shout out to the replay crew, because we know that when these lives are here, the chat is here. And, that's the time to go click on the link and then come back. But, we want, the folks whose links are there for people to go and check them out and all of that good stuff, and hopefully come back to the live itself. But yeah, the replay crew, when they come and the check comes back up in 2 or 3 days, however YouTube does it, then the folks that come and catch the replay, they will see the links in the chat, and they will more than likely click on the link and be on their way to your channel to see what all you have over there. So yeah, shout out to the replay crew. Shout out to the replay crew. Real key and helpful for, the folks that do lives, in my opinion, the folks that do lives. But yeah, that health, one's health is very important, very important, very important, very important. A whole lot of things. And I don't know this, talking about the food and how that has changed. And, everyone is trying to do a different diet, etc. They're trying to eat healthy, and slowly but surely, it's just another thing for us to add to our plate. But yeah, public, private, or homeschool. Yes, thanks for sharing me out. Rooted in Essential Oils, April Showers Network, and Curvy Key for today. And of course, I am going live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, folks. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Car check. And you can drop your links, AI Spill It Girl TV, while I close out this live. Yeah. Whew. Whatever it is that, we as parents decide to, I know most of us are beyond that. Maybe if we have good relations with our children and they have our grandchildren, and that is a conversation that they have brought up to you with regards to, hey, what should I do? What should I do? And maybe they have the means to do private and or homeschool, because if they do, God bless them. And that is a great thing if they're able to either homeschool or, send their kid to a private school, etc. That is great. And public school, of course, we know is public school, and it is not free, but you can just go there and no one is going to say, give me $2, $5. They are taking the money out of your taxes already. The local taxes, the state taxes, your federal taxes. When it goes to government, then they give it back to the states, etc. But who knows what they do when they give it back to the states? Another topic for another time. But yeah, if you're, if they want you to be in on that conversation or something or another, then you will have a little information to go in there with, from your own perspective or what have you. But that is a good thing if they're able to do that. But we know that education is key, and we definitely want the best for our children. And if we decide that the best thing for our kid is to be homeschooled by us, etc., then of course As with anything else, getting the information, doing your own research, asking questions. If it's homeschooling, what does the state require? What are the state requirements for homeschooling? And definitely make sure that you are following them to a T and probably doing above and beyond, because sometimes it can get tricky. And maybe a lot of folks, due to the last 3.5 years, maybe a lot of folks have decided to go the homeschooling route for whatever reason, because of that, or because of, like I mentioned before, the teachers or other people in the school. I'm talking the administrators, the adults that are employed by the city or the state, etc., are saying things in the school that don't align with your values, your beliefs, your morals, beliefs, whether they're religious or other, and you don't want that. You are not going to have that. You're not going to have your kid listening to this type of stuff. And as we know, our kids are in these schools from 6 to 8 hours daily. So, yeah, then if homeschooling is going to work for you, then do that. But make sure you get all the information. If private school is going to work for you, make sure you check out that private school, front, back, up the sides, down the middle, all of that stuff, folks. Just in general, as with anything, we have to do our own due diligence with regards to these topics and other topics. We are sending our children out here into this world to learn in these facilities, these buildings, etc. And if you're doing homeschooling, yeah, make sure that you are in the know and you have your stuff in one sock also in two, because it's going to be on you when the rubber meet. Well, it's always going to be on you, whether you send your kid to private or public school, because other folks are going to look at you as a parent without knowing anything else. They're just going to look at you as the parent. We all know how that goes. Even how your child is dressed, if they are clean or not, they look at you. You dress to the nines and they are looking a hot mess, then they look at the parent. So the same here. The same here. So yeah. I do thank you all for being here. Don't forget to check out my playlist, my backup channel, Cash into Envelopes. Check out my shorts. What else? Back again at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live again. Someone's car is going off. That's always a great thing. Doing a live. Yes. Thanks for the likes, folks. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Yes. Shout out to the replay crew. Thanks to our international friends for catching the replay of this broadcast. Yeah, all of that good stuff. 6 p.m. tonight, folks. 6 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time. With that being said, this live was sponsored by Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. His link is in the chat, folks. His link is in the chat. Bye-bye.